Tonight on CTV, police are investigating the cause of a vehicle and pedestrian collision.
Then, see the role that discussions play in terms of free speech in Black History Month.
Plus, get all your updates on yesterday's nail-biting basketball game from the CSU's women's team.
All that and more, starting on CTV right now.
Good evening, Rams. I'm Natalie Devereaux.
And I'm Weston Hubbard. A crash occurred just before 7 in the morning on Wednesday at the intersection of South College Avenue and West Laurel Street. CSU's public safety team sent out an alert just before 10 in the morning on the same day. The message detailed that the road would be closed for the time being due to the accident. Police arrived shortly after the accident and determined that the driver was an adult female who struck a male pedestrian. Soon after the Fort Collins collision, reconstruction and scene handling team investigated the scene. They determined that the female driver did have a green light and that the male pedestrian was walking across the street did not have a crossing signal, which put him in immediate danger. As of now, the pedestrian is still in the hospital being treated for serious injuries sustained from the accident. The investigation is also still ongoing to figure out if any foul play was involved.
February 12th marks the end of the mask mandate in Larimer County. Establishments will now have the option to let their employees and patrons go maskless indoors. Vaccines, boosters, and natural immunity are the three components to thank for the ending mandate. 80% immunity has been reached across the county due to those factors, and therefore officials believe it is now safe to see one another face to face again. This was not an easy decision for the public health department to make, but with immunity in mind and seeing less stress on hospitals, they've decided to give it a try. Multiple school districts in Larimer County are following suit and lifting their masking requirements. CSU just sent out an email saying the mask mandate will stay in place on campus.
We support our schools and their decisions based on their circumstances. So I will say Colorado State has been a strong partner through this pandemic. In the last 9 to 10 months has been wonderful, keeping as much in-person learning as possible. So their pandemic team and our teams, well, they meet, almost daily. We have been a strong partner, committed to working together. So we support whatever their decision is.
The school stated they took all relevant factors into consideration when making this important decision.
A large amount of previously unreported COVID outbreaks have now been made aware to the public of Colorado following a release of new data. The Colorado Department of Public Health reported 34 of these recent outbreaks of COVID, going as far back as December. The state accredits the backup in reported outbreaks to a rapid amount of cases that were caused by the Omicron variant. As of Wednesday morning, there are now 107 current outbreaks within Larimer County.
College campuses are well known for fostering an opening exchanging of ideas. Students spend pivotal years learning and growing at these institutions. But what happens when discourse goes too far or becomes stunted? Americans' First Amendment right protects free speech, but this isn't the first time the clause has sparked controversy on CSU's campus.
Free speech is the democratic right for people to express themselves freely and without government intervention or interference.
After numerous instances of reported free speech abuse, administrators put up a sign with resources for students.
I think that if CSU wants to be providing resources, they need to be doing so before, during, and after these kinds of things happen.
I don't think it's an important sign to have up. I feel like there are lots of other signs throughout the campus with numbers that you can reach out to if something is going on, and I don't think it should be targeted just at free speech.
This act, meant to help students, has triggered more contention.
There was a student on our campus that ended up taking a picture and sending it to Fox News.
Protection from free speech. Colorado State University referring
I would
students
prefer to see someone of like color, or maybe like a queer representative, or someone who has like been marginalized historically to like speak about the problems that we face on our campus.
You have some kids who are just at the end of their rope with this stuff, and they want to be heard and they want to voice their opinion, and they don't want to feel completely incorrect or wrong for the way that they think.
It has started a bigger conversation of what free speech should legally look like on campus.
In a way, you could have one outlier, one fringe person on this campus of like 30,000 people who has this outrageous view that no one agrees with. And as long as they come right up into the law but don't cross it, they can say that.
There is seemingly an unbridgeable divide when it comes to students and those who hold a differing opinion.
I feel like a lot of the time when conservative white people discuss their views or their opinions, it's just kind of dismissed as like racist or sexist or homophobic.
I know a lot of people within like the LGBT community like are very scared on campus, because like they've had such bad like experiences within the classrooms or like even in living spaces.
Many students cite the school as a large instigator of the polarization.
I think it's hard for sure, especially at universities. There's definitely like a further left bias, and we can't really argue that.
I think a school that's state funded should play the middle ground, try and stay neutral, and be supportive of students of all backgrounds.
Immediately disperse, which means to break up this assembly.
The school declined to comment but did release a statement about the recent disputes. On the CSU website listed under University Policies, the school states the rights of students and others to participate in acts of free speech and peaceful protest. It goes on to say acts by demonstrators that interfere with rights of others, disrupt normal school functions, or endanger health and safety may be addressed through the student conduct process.
One of the last places you would expect a student to get turned away from would be an office supply store. So why were 8 turned away along with their teacher? Students were cooped up in their homes for over a year due to COVID, so being back in person should feel good, right? Behind me is Fort Collins High School, where the students come every single day to learn and feel safe. But what happens when the students leave the premise during school time? Does that safety still continue? Alejandra McGee, an autism integrated services teacher at Fort Collins High School, took 8 of her students and a paraprofessional to Staples on Tuesday morning to practice appropriate public behavior. However, they were asked to leave the store after the manager claimed they were a business to make money, not a store for field trips, and accused the group of not buying items on prior visits. McGee explained the situation of practicing behaviors and said the group intended to buy items. However, the group was still told to leave. McGee took to social media, posting a detailed description of the encounter, which has garnered much attention. Many of the responses were angry with the business, with some claiming they will never shop there again, and even providing the phone number for representatives of the business. Poudre School District, which Fort Collins High School is a part of, who uses Staples as one of its vendors for school supplies, released a statement discussing the disheartening event and want to use it as an opportunity to advocate for their students. Attempting to reach out to both parties has received no answers so far, but as of now, it seems like the Fort Collins community will be up in arms until some sort of resolution is reached. McGee has gone on record and stated that she wants an apology from the manager to her students and hopes this experience can soften his heart. But since no such apology has come yet, the Fort Collins community appears to remain up in arms with Staples.
Over 2,400 Colorado police officers left the profession in 2020. 30 of them had their licenses revoked due to misconduct or misdemeanor and felony convictions. Policing shortages started in 2020 and have continued over the past 2 years. There seem to be 2 main factors as to why these shortages have now peaked: burnout and low morale. There are fewer officers to do the same amount of work, which has led to some law enforcement officials reaching a breaking point and having to step down. The dialogue around justice and policing reform has also had a large impact on both vacant positions and the lack of people wanting to fill them. Here in Fort Collins, the police department has been able to keep up with staffing, but there's around 30% fewer applicants compared to previous years. Don't go anywhere, Rams.
Because Michelle Ellis will be coming up after the break to tell you what kind of weather we can expect going into this weekend.
Awkward. I'm the awkward silence. You try to avoid me, then there I am again.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
Like Kelly here is about to demonstrate.
You haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back. My name is Michelle Ellis, here to give you the weather forecast for this week. Now, as we take a look into this evening, we're going to see that it's partly cloudy conditions with a very low chance of rain. We're going to see a 27% cloud coverage, so we're going to see a few scattered clouds this evening, but nothing too terrible. We'll probably still see the moon this evening. And we're also going to see some slight winds coming in about 6 miles an hour. And we're going to see that right now it's 44 degrees, but it is going to cool down to about 40 degrees this evening. And we're going to be seeing those temperatures drop this evening, both here in Fort Collins and throughout the rest of Colorado as well. But why is that? Although it was sunny and warm this week and today, tonight a light cold front is going to move its way in, bringing cooler temperatures throughout the state and potentially some snow with it. But this cold front should move away after tomorrow, which will bring warmer temperatures back into Fort Collins as we move into the weekend. But tonight we are going to see those temperatures drop and cool down throughout the rest of Colorado. As we take a look into the eastern plains, we're going to see that it does cool down into the low 30s, with Limon getting into the high 20s. Moving down the I-25 corridor, we're going to see mid 30s. And as we move into the mountain range, it is going to cool down significantly, with Craig getting into 15, but Gunnison and Alamosa getting down into the single digits. Now, this cold weather is going to carry on into tomorrow as well. As we take a look, we're going to see that in the eastern plains, it's going to stay consistent into the low 40s, high 30s, with Lamar getting a bit warmer in the high 40s. Now, as we move into the mountain range, we're going to see that it starts to cool down again into the 30-degree range, but it does warm up in Grand Junction. Now, in Fort Collins, it does seem to be 40 degrees, but it is going to be chilly in the evening, getting down to about 18 degrees. We are going to see some cloudy conditions with rain and snow showers, mostly in the morning. But that can persist throughout the day, but it should clear up right before midnight in the evening. Now we're going to see that there's a 52% chance of rain and a 35% chance of snow tomorrow. And we're going to see some breeze come in from the north and northeast, about 10 to 20 miles per hour. Now, for the rest of the week, we're going to see that it does warm up after Friday, and we're going to start to see it does clear up into the partly cloudy and sunny conditions. Now, for Friday, we're going to see the 40 degrees. Saturday, that cold weather is going to carry on that to about 43 degrees. But on Sunday and Monday, we're going to see that it starts to warm up about 50 degrees for the most part. And then Tuesday warms up to the 54 degrees, excuse me. But for the most part, in the evenings, it's going to chill down to about the mid to high 20s and a very low chance of rain for the rest of the week. Now, that's all I have for you, weather for you guys this evening. But stay tuned because there's more news after this.
Bye-bye.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably going to turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right.
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
Welcome back from the break, Rams.
February 1st marks the beginning of Black History Month. Live reporter JJ McKinney is here today to tell us more about how people are getting involved. JJ?
Thanks, Weston. As he just said, it's Black History Month, and a couple of CSU students are taking the conversation about racial equality and spreading it to the community.
They're called Real Talks, a program funded by the Black African American Cultural Center and ran by CSU students Andrew Brown and Alexandria Walton here at CSU's campus.
Real Talk is a student-led critical dialogue space where we, as student facilitators, lead the group.
They cover topics about the Black community, varying from conversations about art, music, film, and overall pop culture. This week's Real Talk was all about the connection between art and its history with Black activism.
So art can be such a beautiful way to say something without putting yourself in harm's way necessarily.
Real Talks range from lighthearted to serious talks about the treatment of Black people in today's society.
Acknowledging, like whether you are, I guess, like higher or lower in like some socioeconomic scale is hard to talk about because, you know, not everyone likes to talk about if they're privileged or if they're not privileged.
While Real Talks certainly do get real, Brown and Walton know just how important talks like these are for the Fort Collins community.
I see Real Talk as a very, like you said, connecting device, I guess you could say, and it could be really powerful to help people understand each other, not only in like within their community, but outside of their community.
This Real Talk was one of the events the Black African American Cultural Center is holding for Black History Month. But more Real Talks will continue all year long. Back to you, Weston.
Thank you, JJ, for that information. Have you ever wondered how the gas used to heat your home and power your appliances gets there? It comes from natural gas compressor stations that move gas thousands of miles. Researchers at CSU are working diligently to make the system more efficient and reduce methane greenhouse gas emissions from the process. A $1.5 million grant from the Department of Energy's Advanced Research Projects Agency has been given to the study. Although essential, the gas compressors often leak methane, which in large quantities can affect the Earth's atmosphere by trapping heat from the sun, leading to unnatural changes in the climate. The goal is to create a system that would stop the dangerous gas from escaping and instead be burned by the engine, overall reducing harmful greenhouse gas emissions.
Longtime Larimer County manager Linda Hoffman has announced she will be retiring this spring. Hoffman began her career in the city back in 2008 and became county manager in 2012. The Board of Commissioners for Larimer County reflected on how great of a manager Hoffman was, referencing her plenty of tireless efforts and time commitment she put into the job. In her time as county manager, Hoffman was able to provide assistance for the city through hard times, such as allocating resources and supplies for those who lost their homes in the High Park and Cameron Peak fires. Hoffman also created back-to-back strategic plans that allowed for over $100 million in facilities for the county to be created without raising any taxes in the process. In the face of retirement, Hoffman talked about how happy she was to serve the community for as long as she did and was proud of all the changes she made in the county and looks forward to seeing the changes that will be made even though she is no longer the one making them.
If you were worried about Post Brewing closing its doors earlier this year, never fear. They are simply moving locations. This tap room and beer garden will be reopening next month in the location of the former Wild Boar Cafe off of College Avenue. Owner Joe DeLine, a 2021 CSU graduate, is looking forward to take over that space that already has a German feel to its exterior, and it's well complement the German style and beers that they serve inside. It's cool that they get to keep that culture kind of going because the German aspect of it's already there. So it's like they don't have to spend all this time and effort trying to establish it already.
I agree, and I used to go to the Wild Boar Cafe, and that's a great location. So I think it's great that they're putting something else there that we can all enjoy.
I never had the chance to go, but now I kind of want to go visit it and see what it is now because obviously it's turning into something big, so I'm excited.
Yes, it's very nice.
Well, Natalie, if you didn't know, Valentine's Day is actually at the end of this weekend, so it's Valentine's Day weekend. And live reporter Hattie Williams is out to ask CSU students what their plans are for the holiday. Hattie?
Thanks, Weston. Valentine's Day is indeed this Monday, and we all know what that means. Lovebirds of all kinds are coming out to celebrate. Cupid is out, doves are flying, mushy talk is taking over phone conversations, and I just had to know, how are students spending their Valentine's weekend? So what are you doing for Valentine's Day?
Who knows? I have no plans at the moment.
I'm gonna lift some weights, get swole.
Hanging out with all of my best friends, of course. A little bit of Galentine's. Yeah, we'll say that, Galentine's.
Oh, we got reservations at this restaurant in town. It's at Jack's, the sushi place. Yeah.
Nice.
And then this weekend on Saturday we're going down to Denver and just gonna enjoy the day out there too as well.
I don't have any plans right now. Just probably do homework because I'm an engineer.
I will actually be watching my girl named Harper play volleyball, but then we'll be eating dinner after, so yeah.
Super Bowl or Valentine's Day?
Super Bowl, yeah, that's more fun for me.
A little bit of both, Super Bowl probably.
I definitely take Valentine's Day. I work at a sports bar. We hate the Super Bowl.
I'd say the Super Bowl. I love football.
Valentine's Day for sure, yeah.
Probably Valentine's Day.
Agree. I don't watch football.
I don't either. Me either. I'm putting you in a tough spot.
I'll have to choose Valentine's Day. Yeah.
Smart choice.
Okay. I would have said Super Bowl, but
Olympics. Olympics? I loved being able to talk with students about their plans, and they honestly gave me some great ideas of what I could do. I'm curious, though. Natalie and Weston, what do you guys have planned this weekend?
I think I'm just going to have like a nice chill weekend with some friends, maybe get some dinner, just relax a little bit.
Awesome.
I'm going to get myself a nice tub of ice cream, watch the new Attack on Titan episode, and just relax, chill, you know?
You guys have such both beautiful weekends and very relaxing. I am just working. And I do have some plans. I have some plans with my boyfriend on Monday night, but for the most part, I'm working this weekend.
All that matters is you have it on the day, you know, actual Valentine's Day.
Exactly.
Yes, that's what matters. Well, Rams, that's all the news we have for you right now.
But don't go anywhere. Leah Kukowski is coming up next to give us the rundown on how both of CSU's basketball teams have been doing in their most recent games. Stick around.
Queen is just my everything.
His smile did it. His smile, his eyes, his knowledge. My landlord, he decided that he wanted me to move based on the fact that I was transgender. Let's just respect people in everyday life for just being human.
How's it going, Rams? My name is Leah Kukowski, and I am so excited to be back again this week as your Thursday night sports anchor. Well, it's been a basketball-filled week, to say the least, and tonight I'll break down all of the action from both our men's and women's squads. From the dub the boys took in Nevada on Tuesday to the thrilling orange-out comeback last night on the women's side. Needless to say, things are looking bright for the Rams. All of that in this momentum should once again bring the insane energy back to Moby when the green and gold take on Fresno State tomorrow at 7:30. I'll fill you in on all the details leading up to that one and much, much more here on Thursday Night Sports, which starts right now. To tip off the action here tonight, let's dive right into the matchup with Coach Medved and crew down in Reno this past Tuesday. Now, regardless of the two teams' records coming in, it seems that no matter what, these matchups between the Rams and Wolfpack always seems to end way too close for comfort, especially over the last few years. And with a high-intensity W last Friday night against San Diego State, the Rams look to carry that same exact energy from Moby to Lawler, aiming to prove that they're the better squad not on just paper, but also in practice. And well, as expected, they did just that, winning rather comfortably for once, 82-72, to take home a solid road win. And with that final score, it's clear that the squad pretty much dominated the Wolfpack in every single category. Not to mention that David Roddy, as always, absolutely crushed it on the hardwood, going off for a total of 29 points and 8 rebounds to make it clear that he was ready to break the streak down in Reno. The green and gold carry a comfortable lead for most of the game, and Nevada did their best to keep up for the majority of the night. With Nevada's junior guard Desmond Cambridge Jr. doing more than just holding his own against the Rams, with a career-high 36 points on an insane 13 for 15 from the field. But as the 10-point L indicates, it just wasn't enough against this deep and talented CSU squad. And in all fairness to Cambridge, it didn't help at all that his teammates turned over the ball 14 times, while also giving the green and gold way too many opportunities at the line, going for an excessive amount of fouls with 23 compared to CSU's 18. All these mistakes came together to make a difficult matchup for the Wolfpack even harder, and the Rams took full advantage. And moving on, when you look at the big picture, this away dub really shows how much this program has grown over the last few years. Keeping in mind that they haven't secured a dub at Lawler Event Center since 2015, which was a full 3 years, but Coach Medved became his return back in Fort Collins in 2018. With this short road trip now over, the Rams moved to 18-3 on the season. And if I were them, I wouldn't change a thing for Friday's matchup against Fresno State. Now, if the green and gold continue to play the same way and with the same intensity they've been at the past couple of games, they should definitely be able to win rather easily against average Fresno State squad. But hey, I'll give the visitors this. They have proven to be fighters, taking Mountain West leading Wyoming down to the wire, only losing by 2 to them this past Sunday. That type of drive from the Bulldogs team will most likely carry into Friday's matchup, meaning the Rams can't afford to underestimate them. Like I said, CSU simply needs to continue to play at the high level that they know how to. And as long as they can do that, good things are bound to happen. This looks like yet to be another sellout crowd for Moby, so no matter what, this will be at least an exciting one to say the least. And moving on to the flip side, our Lady Rams pulled off an amazing come-from-behind dub last night against conference rival Utah State Orange Out Night, 86-83. And heading into this one, things were looking like it was going to be an easy W for the green and gold, especially with USU coming in at a terrible 7-16 overall mark, including only 2 wins in conference play. But surprisingly for the orange-filled crowd here on campus on Wednesday, this matchup didn't look promising at all for the home team from the start. Thanks to defensive mistakes early on and a lack of offensive support, which left the green and gold constantly fighting to make up ground and keep up with the USU as the Aggies continued to pour it on. With this in mind, the Rams were down nearly the entire game. But somehow, sort of like SDSU did last week, CSU finally took the lead when it mattered the most, with McKenna Hofschild hitting a clutch jumper with under 2 minutes left to take the lead for good, allowing the Rams to hold on and steal one from the Aggies by a mere 3 points after Upe Atasu drained 2 shots from the line, and USU's Mana Mensah missed the mark on a desperation 3 in the final seconds, ending things off with the green and gold on top with the final score of 86-83. And moving on to the numbers for CSU, stars McKenna Hofschild and Upe Atasu came through like they usually do, combining for a whopping 47 points, which was almost half of the team's total score. And with Staples Petrofarkas and Carly Murphy only going for 4 each, it's impressive CSU was able to keep up in this one at all, let alone win. And moving on to the other side, the player to watch for the Ags last night was absolutely number 32, Adriana Quezada, who put in a stellar double-double with 29 points and 15 rebounds, terrorizing the Rams for most of the night and making it look easy for the crowd here at Moby. After this major comeback victory in a game that they needed to have, the Green and Gold now take this newly found momentum on the road to San Jose to take on the Spartans this Saturday. And much like the Aggies, San Jose State is a struggling program to say the least, ranking dead last in the Mountain West with an embarrassing 1-11 record in the conference. So hopefully, just like last night, this will be a dub come this weekend. And that, Ram fans, that's all the sports action I have for you tonight. Be sure to tune in Monday for another edition of Monday Night Sports. Have a wonderful weekend, stay safe, and we'll see you then.